I was one of the last residents of the old college, and I came on the college council in my third year, and actually didn't leave for decades. One of the constant problems and complaints we got in the era of end of third term exams and swap back, that there were complaints about noise. Now it's totally human that people who've been through the pressure cooker of the third term, these were annual exams in those days, and days and nights of swatting, finally relieved, want to let off steam. The trouble is with the new building is that they let off steam into a sound chamber. These tall concrete walls were, unlike the old college where any sound would go outwards and wasn't focused, if you like, and the other problem was the time of the year and the types of luxury Swedish windows that we had fitted, which were an architectural gem if you were in the Northern Hemisphere, was that they only opened this much in the hottest time of the year, which was the exam time. And indeed, a lot of damage was done, a lot of cost to the environment by jamming these things further open than they were designed. But the heat and the pressure, we rightly got complaints from those students. Sometimes weeks later, they got exams. And I always thought, well, there's an answer to this. We should have a soundproof place in which people can let off steam. Or they get home from the pub, they can go there and, if you like, simmer down without disturbing their fellow students whose main job is to get through their exams. And human nature is human nature, and that was the only answer I could see to it. You can't stop the people doing that. You've got to cater for it. And anyhow, it didn't seem to be a priority. We had other priorities. We had always had a leaking roof. The building a sort of an enclosed area at the top of a flat building is like building a tank. And these darned windows, in the end we had to completely replace them because they're just so enormously expensive. And other problems like that. So it wasn't a priority, but somehow when I became the chairman of the priority changed, and to my delight. And I insisted that Jim Birrell, who was an award-winning architect, should take the brief. And I was at a very stimulating period when I worked with him on the design, so that first of all we had a practical air-conditioned room in which a large room in which people could let off steam. And secondly, when it wasn't the hot time of the year, the two walls concertina opened and spilt out into a landscaped area for all the other sort of functions, including small lectures. I think it's the biggest lecture space on the campus, on our college site, so it brings in some money. But that's the origin, my assessment of human nature and my assessment of the answer. Nowadays, of course, we're in a situation with no end-of-term exams. So that primary purpose, but the secondary purpose of making sure it fitted a role in the normal year is certainly being fulfilled. I'm very proud of it. I didn't ask that it be called the Innes Room, but others on the council, and I was honoured that it was called after me.